kind. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here to tell you a bit about our very special children. My name is Dinah and I'm co-founder and chair of the trustees. Bhola is a large watery island in the middle of the Bay of Bengal. Its name means Forgotten Island, and it used to be a convict island. It has over 2 million inhabitants with a large preponderance of birth defects due to first cousin marriage, protracted labour and arsenic in the water. The island is very long. We're at the northern end, which means there's only one road. We can't actually reach all the children, but who knows, perhaps one day there'll be Bhola's children south. The charity was registered in March 2007 following a visit I made with an Italian friend, Bruno, who'd met Ali, who was orphaned at birth and has spent his entire life looking after disabled children and concentrating on children with cerebral palsy. Bruno was so impressed by his vision of a home and school where all the different disabilities live and work together. She said, find some accommodation and I'll pay the rent. So he moved into what is now our present accommodation on Bhola Island, and with about half a dozen children. And I'll never forget my first meeting with those children. It was just the most magical day of my life. There were only about 20 of them. We were introduced, all the disabilities were explained, and I reached out. I had 2 blind children in front of me, and I reached out and held their hands, and to my dying day, I will remember the way their faces lit up, and I was lost. So I said, well, buy the freehold, and found the charity. Now, the magic of these children seemed to rub off on my friends. I came home, emailed everybody, told them about my wonderful new family, and the money came in. And the USP is that every single penny anybody gives goes to Bhola. No overheads, no expenses, we pay our own way out there, and we pay a daily rate when we stay there. And what's more, we are the only residential home for disabled children on the island. Thanks to the generosity of our donors and a couple of corporate donations, we were able to build a hostel which sleeps up to 100 people, children, and we have all the girls and the small boys living on 2 floors. And I have to tell you that on the top floor there are a couple of guest rooms. And if anybody wanted to come out, it's actually relatively comfortable, unlike when I first went, when I actually shared a classroom with rats. We currently have 63 children, 40 boys and 23 girls, who we like to hope that we'll get even numbers, aged from 5 to 15, and each one has got a disability. A lot of deaf, blind, slow learners suffering from cerebral palsy and Down syndrome, but most of them are deaf, so the lingua franca is sign language. Most of our staff are Bangladeshi, and some are actually disabled as well. Ali has retired, and we have a good new younger director who's worked with Bangladeshi charities in the past, and he gets on extremely well with the children, staff, and us. We as foreigners can't own land, so we have local trust, local men. The trust is called Bhola Children's Special School Bangladesh, and they are responsible for the day-to-day running of the home and the school. And the chairman and the director and I work together and speak on the telephone at least once a week. And there's also two principals of local schools and colleges nearby among the trustees, and they can advise Zakia on his on looking after the children's education. We have a very good relationship with local organisations, and in fact the new district commissioner's very first visit on the island was to our campus, which was absolutely brilliant. Nearly all the children attend local primary school, and our great success this year was that 3 profoundly deaf boys went through to secondary education. We also have lessons in the home, and we teach them embroidery, which some of you may have already seen, and animal husbandry and agriculture, and we also teach the older boys metalwork. Well, our hope is to give the teenagers some sort of further training and apprenticeship for jobs in the future. We have an arrangement with HEED Bangladesh, which stands for Health and Education and Economic Development. Their campus is just down the road, and the older boys learn metalwork there. We have 1 staff member who is a trained welder, but we no longer have a carpenter. We'd love to have a carpenter so that he could teach our boys and girls to make these wonderful, brightly coloured assistive devices, you may see some on the screen sometime, which Ali has designed, which help the children. They can train, they can learn to speak, to move and walk and stand, and also we could sell them to the local community and help our home to be more sustainable and some money. One day we want to build our own workshop, but that's in the future. But we urgently need a qualified physiotherapist. At present, our physio is done by an untrained woman and a blind teenager. If we could have a physio to assess the children as they come in and also look after children in the community, and my dream is to have a couple of little rooms on the campus where mothers of CP children can bring their babies when they're, and learn the exercises to do early on when they're still very small. So £6,000 would pay for a part-time physio and a carpenter, and it would be absolutely wonderful if you could see your way to finding this money so we can change the life of our children. They have nothing, these children, except for the most enormous amount of love. And I promise you, if anybody wanted to come out and stay, then it would change your life. Perhaps not as radically as mine was, but you will never ever forget our children. We would love to welcome particularly doctors, nurses, therapists, anybody who can actually help train our staff. And we would be so grateful if anybody we could actually give our children a brighter and more positive future. Thank you very much.